Hello everyone, I am Galaxy Lifter and welcome back to this new video of Remnant from the Ashes. A bit weird for me to come out with this video, I know. I mean, it's weird whenever I come out with anything because I just do whatever, and this is another whatever video. So for a really long time I wanted to showcase a build for this game, and ever since I've done my Nightmare campaign run and I was talking about it, this is my personal critical build and I will proceed to show it to you now as we watch some footage that I've recorded on the background. So let's start in order. I am playing full campaign from beginning to the end. I've chosen some clips in particular to show you during this time, and my items and character are all max level. I have 1,000 experience skill points and they've all been assigned, so every skill in the game is maxed, and every weapon and armor I'm using and that I'm owning is at max level. So let's start with that. Now for the weapons, I'm beginning with the beam rifle, which is a fantastic, phenomenal weapon, one of my favorite, if not my favorite, because of this build in particular. The beam rifle can be found in the Lost Gantry on Rome, and on this weapon I will be equipping the Hunter's Mark mod. It is obtained from the Hunter archetype or purchased from McCabe on World 13. What Hunter's Mark does is marks all enemies within 35 meters of the caster and their allies. Critical chance is against marked enemies is increased by 10%, lasts 30 seconds. 30 seconds base time duration. With skills and other items it can be extended, obviously. If you wish, if you don't like it, it can be swapped for Hotshot. It is something else that I like to use with this build, and not on this particular recording, but in other occasions it could be fun to just use Hotshot for the extra damage. But you will lose on critical chance. Is 10%, which is little, but in this case every little bit really matters. For our short weapon, we are using the hunting pistol, which is found in the Hunter's Hideout on Earth. Really easy dungeon, a bit less for the landmines, but I enjoy it. And it is a really strong side weapon, single shot, but basically a sniper pistol, and I love it to death. In the beginning of my experience with the game, I was to avoid it in favor of the SMG, but with time I'd come to quite appreciate it, because it can one-shot most enemies on early on, basically on Earth and on Rome, especially. When you come to Kossus, yes, Kossus still can walk, but Yesha, it was a bit of a struggle with this. And for the mod of this weapon, you're using the Swarm mod, really strong mod, which synergizes really well with the Radiant set, which is the armor that I'm going to showcase a bit later on. Swarm is can be obtained for the Thrall boss on courses. Swarm unleashes insects that will seek after enemies within 20 meters and repeatedly attack, dealing 5 corrosive damage per hit. It lasts 15 seconds. Now, it does not sound like much, but believe me, Swarm is one hell of a mod. If you are experienced with the game, which I think you are, because otherwise how many people are going to watch this game, this showcase video after years and years that the game came out? Actually, the sequel has been out for a while now, so I'm just doing this, you know, for the love of the game, literally. And for the melee weapon, you can really go with whatever. Usually I go for the hero sword. For this time I just chose the Lost Harpoon just because. Basically there is, you can use whatever. I just went for the Lost Harpoon because it matched the aesthetic more than something else. That's it basically. So now for the armor, I'm using a full Radiant set. The Radiant Visage is found in the Guardian Shrine on Yesha, and the Radiant Protector and Grease can be found on the Stack Merchant on Yesha. The power of this set is Momentum, which critical hits increase critical chance and critical damage for 3 seconds, stacking up to 100 times. Recoil is reduced by 15%, but having 3 armor sets, so a complete set, will give you 3% critical chance and critical damage per single point. Up to 10 points it comes to plus 30% critical damage and critical chance, so it is really good. And it's also synergizes really well with Swarm, because Swarm can crit and Swarm actually gives you stacks. So when you're not shooting, when you, for example, are reloading, and in this dead time that you're not dealing damage, your stacks might slowly tick down. Swarm instead keeps it up, and it is really great. Now for my amulets and rings, I'm using the Nightmare Spiral as an amulet, which is obtained from Dreamer Nightmare boss in a hardcore mode. The effect of this item is ranged hits steal 6% of base damage dealt as health. Consumable healing effectiveness is reduced by 95%. So a really bad downside, but not really, as the life steal from the Nightmare Spiral is really good, and I like it a lot. I like to have it for healing myself instead of you just using Dragon Hearts. Basically because it does not get me out of the fight, and it allows me to keep on fighting even with low health, and the more I fight, the more health I gain back. So it favors a really aggressive playstyle, and sometimes I push this a bit too much and die in the process, but you will see it is really strong because it allows basically what is a glass cannon build to tank a lot more damage than it should. It can be swapped for Gunslinger's Jam if you want a bit more fire rate, which helps with the DPS. It is totally fine. Personally, I prefer Nightmare Spiral over anything else. Next, for the rings, I have Braided Thorns, which is obtained from the cultist in Morrow Pass on Earth. It increases crit chance by 10% and gains an additional 10% for 10 seconds after slaying an enemy. Now, during some boss fights, this is not really that big of a deal. Basically, some bosses, maybe not. No, just some bosses that I can think of do not have any ads in the arena with them, which I actually prefer. So the Braided Thorns only works with half power, basically. You still have a 10% base crit chance, but if you kill something else and then go back to shooting the boss for 10 seconds, you have actually a 20% more crit chance. Anyways, 10%, 20%, I just like to have it. And then I have the Devouring Loop. I just didn't know what else to put, so I went with the Devouring Loop. It's something that I don't usually use because the effect is really hard to trigger. It is found as a random drop on ROM, and its effect is critical hits have a 5% chance to deal 4 times damage. And it sounds really good on paper, and it is, but for me personally it does not trigger that often, or when it does, is not really that noticeable for me. I usually go with something else, like for example Devouring Loop, which gives me a bit more damage at the cost of fire rate. It is a trade-off that I'm willing to make usually. This time just went with the Devouring Loop just because I wanted to try something else. You can put anything else you prefer on this slot. If you like something else, this is my personal build, and this it reflects how I like to play. And how I like to play is by avoiding at all costs Burden of the Gambler. It is usually recommended for a critical build because it boosts critical chance by 35%, which is a lot, but it disables weak spots, and this is a trade-off that I am not willing to make. I'm willing to trade some 10% of fire rate for some 25% more damage. It is okay by me. It is not okay by me to give up completely on weak spot damage, because it does not fit well with the hunting pistol. It basically neuters it makes it completely useless, and it feels frustrating for me personally to fight without weak spots damage. And as a side note, you cannot defeat the final boss with the Burden of the Gambler equipped. It is just not possible, because basically the whole boss fight revolves around hitting a weak spot, which you cannot do it any longer. So that is that. We are done with the build by itself, but just as a side note, I'm using some consumables during this showcase, because playing on Nightmare difficulty is not easy. And so I'm going with Madtooth Tonic, which can be purchased by Madtooth on Earth, which increases maximum health by 25. Always good to have some more health. Madtooth Theory, which can be purchased by Madtooth on Earth, as with Madtooth Tonic, which increases stamina by 25. Always good to have some more stamina. There was something else that could have given me even some more stamina regeneration, but I really didn't find myself in need of that. I went perfectly fine without. Then I'm using Houndmaster's Jerky, which is can be purchased from Houndmaster on ROM, and it increases critical damage by 15%. I'll say that it fits pretty well, this kind of build. And the Ice Fruit, which can be purchased from Seaboom on Razium, and it increases critical chance by 5%. Now, I said it before, I'm all set for skill points, but I will especially recommend for Executioner, which gives you critical chance, and Kingslayer, which gives you critical damage. Everything else is up to you. There's not really a skill point limit like in Remnant 2. You can just spread them all over, which is what I've done. I like to have them all around, so I don't have to change them around. If I change build, it's just all there. I can swap in a little one eye. A few words about this build. Some things that I've noticed that I like to point out is even if it is really strong DPS wise, its damage potential does not last that long. It works best if you activate both weapon modes at the same time and just start focusing one target with the beam rifle. It deals a ton of damage in a short time, but you also have a short time to deal that damage. If something else comes up, if you get distracted, if you have to dodge, avoid an attack, if you lose time on anything else, then you lose your window of opportunity and you find yourself really weakened without having anything else to deal some more damage until you build that damage that mods up again, which can take a while sometimes. Now for the hunting pistol, it recharges swarm really fast. That's another reason why I chose it. Some people prefer to use the SMG, and I understand that, but the SMG just takes a bit too long to build up mod power, and the hunting pistol and also the Magnum are way faster, but the hunting pistol for me is better than the Magnum, just personal preference. So that is a reason. But when you find yourself without weapon mods, maybe you even deal a ton of damage to the boss, but then you find yourself out of mod power, and then you are powerless and just kiting, running around, hoping not to be smothered against a wall or something. So really high damage, really satisfying, and also really terrifying when you are out of everything. And as a last thing that I have to say is a disclaimer. In some boss fights I don't really fight that well. It's a bit because I'm rusty, I forgot how the boss fight works. It really passes a long time between each time I record. But I managed myself nonetheless, so some fights are not as clean as I would have liked. I would like to be as clean as Paul Jamison when he plays, but I'm just not him. So I'll get some hurt to my face every once in a while, but in the end I think this is more of a testament of how good the build is, that I can still manage to win the fight even if I get my teeth kicked in, rather than how good of a player I am, even if I am pretty good but not that good. And that is basically it, I have to say. Now I'll just shut up, sit back, relax, and I'll let you enjoy my gameplay.
Attend to... There is an intruder. Yes, get it.
And with that final shot, my testing of my own personal critical damage build, it is done, and I think it came out quite well. I mean, I had a very good template to start with, so it couldn't have been otherwise. Let me know what you think of my build in the comments, if anyone's gonna watch this video. Anyways, video came out a bit longer than what I would have expected, but it is fine for me. We will see each other in another episode, who knows when. Until then, have a great rest of your day, everyone. Goodbye.